This is Mike Smith. Welcome to today's show, and we're going to kick the program off today by talking about BC Hydro and its smart meter program. Now, these smart meters are coming at you. Whether you want it or not, they're going to install a smart meter in your home. They're spending $1 billion to do it. Every home in BC is going to get a smart meter. Starting in July, they'll be installing these things all the way through next year. Now, when you talk to Hydro about why we need to spend $1 billion on these smart meters, they got lots of answers for you. They got lots of great reasons for why these things are fantastic. And they will look you in the eye, and they'll tell you that jacking up your hydro bill is not one of them. They will actually tell you that. This has got nothing to do with so-called time-of-use billing. This is where the government jacks up the rate, the electricity rate charged on the power that you consume during so-called peak periods, right? When most people are doing their laundry or washing their dishes or making TV in the evening. That's when most people consume electricity, watching TV. That's when they'll jack the rates up. That's what these smart meters are all about. And for someone to try and tell me different, if you believe it, I got a couple of fast ferries you might want to buy, or maybe a proposed downtown casino or something. Listen, you know what these smart meters are about. They're about jacking up your electricity bill. And if you think any different, you're very naive. That's what I say to BC Hydro. Let's talk to one of my favorite analysts on this topic. His name is Jim Quayle. He's from the BC Public Interest Advocacy Center. Jim.
Good afternoon, Mike.
Hey, thanks for coming on.
No problem.
Let me tell you what's going on in California. I laughed at this one. This is hilarious because there are many reasons to be suspicious about these smart meters. I think the time of use billing is the big one. But these things have had problems with wherever they've been introduced. Right? Now, down in California, Google this. People should Google this, and you'll find it on Google News today. In California, they had to refund a whole bunch of customers because they were overcharged by their smart meters. And you know what happened, Jim?
What's that?
There was a heat wave, okay? There was a heat wave in California, and the smart meters thought the heat, like the temperature outside, was because of because you're heating your home.
Hey, that's why they call them smart meters.
Yeah, right.
And that's why I guess the people are pretty smart who think you put a system like that in California.
Yeah, California. This thing has been a political debacle in California.
Yep.
Listen, you give me your take on these smart meters and why we're doing it.
Why this really, frankly, how this really, what's cooking in people's heads over there in Victoria and over at BC Hydro is beyond me. But what these meters are for is for implementing time-of-use rates. They could do a few other things. You don't need to send some guy, with a flashlight and a pad to go and read your meter. There's only a couple hundred people who do that work, and you could, so they'll get laid off. You'd have a whole army of people to make it worth spending $1 billion, right? So that's not what it's about. It doesn't really save energy because you're still using the same amount of energy in your home. You're still doing your laundry. You're doing all of this stuff. What they want to do, though, is bring in time-of-use rates so they really nail you when you really need the power.
And that's what they've done in other jurisdictions, right?
That's exactly what they've done.
Yeah.
They did that in Ontario, and that's the reason for them. It's like the reason for a can opener is to open a can. You might do other things with it. You might use it to squash a bug, And a smart meter, the purpose of it is to track what time of day you're using electricity so you can have a rate based on that.
That's why they were invented.
Exactly. They brought this in Ontario, and there was a huge firestorm of political protest because everybody's rates went up. Big surprise. The government there started backpedaling and issued rebates and, just trying to keep people quiet because, the McGuinty government's in a lot of trouble. But this is a large part of it. They're in big trouble in California. They're in big trouble everywhere where they're doing it. But this is the reason for doing it. Now they're saying they're not going to implement time-of-use rates. Well, that's even, more staggering. You're going to spend $1 billion but not do what these things are there to do. And they're claiming there's all kinds of other sort of side issues that'll give huge benefit. Like they claim that these are going to make it harder for people to steal electricity for grow-ops.
Right.
And they've invented this gigantic pulled-out-of-nowhere number. Suddenly they've decided that there's $100 million a year of electricity theft that would be stopped. And this number flies in the face of every bit of data they've ever filed before their regulator, the Utilities Commission. This is like this big balloon full of hot air. But this is what they're hanging it on now because it doesn't save much in the way of energy.
Well,
what are their benefits? And they're saying, no, we're not after time of use rates. So this is about grow-ops.
Well, I wrote a column about this in the Province newspaper a few weeks ago on this whole issue around the grow-ops. And one of the things, and Jim, in my discussions with you, it got me twigged onto this and started digging into it. They're saying, hey, these nasty marijuana growers out there, they're stealing $100 million worth of power a year, and these smart meters are going to put an end to that. It wasn't that long ago that BC Hydro was saying they were losing $12 million a year.
That's right.
To marijuana grow-ops. And then they said, just last year they said they were losing $30 million to grow-ops. Now all of a sudden, because they got to figure out some kind of way to grease the skids for these smart meters, they got to sell people on it, they got to butter people up, soften them up. All of a sudden, it's $100 million.
It's $100 million, but at the same time they are saying this, just in February, and this was in your column too. It was an excellent column, by the way. They filed some information at the commission that we dug out of them in a proceeding where they admitted that there hasn't been any real change in the amount of energy that's disappearing from the system through theft or other things like that. That has been a constant picture for years. So you try to add that up, it won't add up. They're just trying to find some way to gift wrap this idea to try to convince people to accept it.
Okay, after I wrote that column, Rich Coleman, who's the Minister of Energy in BC, he wrote a letter to the editor. And he said, I'm looking at this letter right now, he said, the column speculates that BC Hydro is installing smart meters to introduce time-of-use billing. This is not true. This is what he says. They are not going to bring in this so-called time-of-use billing.
Well, listen,
now, you know what? I'll tell you what, Jim. If these guys spend $1 billion on these smart meters and they don't bring in time-of-use billing down the road, I'll take my hydro bill and I'll eat it.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll eat it on the air.
I don't think you're likely to need to do that.
That's why I'm willing to make that bet. I'm not going to have to bring my salt shaker here to put it on my hydro bill and eat it on the air, because that's what they're going to do.
I've been tracking this issue for years from the get-go. They ran a little pilot project from the beginning. This is about time of use. They ran a little pilot project with little groups of volunteer customers who had these things in, various places at Campbell River and in Mission and other places. Some BC Hydro executives volunteered to have smart meters, and it was to try out a time-of-use rate structure. That is what this is about. It's a tool for time-of-use.
Why don't they just say that?
That's what they were saying until it blew up in McGuinty's face, and it started to blow up in this government's face, and suddenly they're scrambling and they're making up other justifications, and they're refusing to disclose what their, the basis is for their claims. We did a freedom of information request. What we got was a bunch of blacked out material. Wherever it had anything useful in it, they blacked it out. They're refusing to go public with these, the basis for these outlandish claims that they're making. Okay.
There's people at BC Hydro, I am certain, are listening to this right now, and they're doing a slow burn. Oh, there he goes again about the smart meters.
They follow me like bloodhounds.
Oh, I know.
I predict they'll want equal time on your show, and but
you're public enemy number one over there. I'll tell you what, here's what we'll do. We'll take a break. We'll come back, and I'm going to get the phone lines going. Now, you tell me, I'm kind of a cynical guy. I realize that, but hey, they're going to spend $1 billion on this stuff. These things are designed for time-of-use billing. You trying to give me some kind of snow job here that you're not going to bring in time-of-use billing down the road? I don't buy it. I don't buy it for 1 second. That's what's coming down the pipe here, time-of-use billing. Now, you phone me up. I'll open the phone lines, and you tell me what you think about this program. Welcome back. All right, the thing you got to remember about these smart meters is they not only know how much electricity you consume. I mean, the dumb meters do that now. They can tell exactly when you use the electricity. That's the point of a smart meter. They know precisely what time you're using that power. So that is the point of them, because they want to change the rates. They want to bring in time-of-use billing so that if you're using that electricity during a peak demand time, like in the evenings, they'll charge you more. They'll charge you more. That's what's coming down the pike. My guest is Jim Quayle. It's 604-280-9898, toll-free 1-877-399-9898, star 9898 in your cell. Let's go to Gordon on the open line. Hi.
Yeah, good morning. Thank you for taking my call. Just
Sure.
a quick one. I was at a security conference in the United States roughly a year ago dealing with these smart meters, and these meters have been cracked by hackers. So I would like to know what security procedures are in place. Secondly, protecting my personal information, because it's a two-way communication channel these meters are using.
Okay, well, BC Hydro will tell you that these things are foolproof, right, Jim? Just like the Sony PlayStation and all that.
Pretty much, and they're going to spend millions and millions and millions more of our dollars sort of chasing one step behind the hackers. It's like the updates you get to your operating software every week. You know, they're always trying to stay just a step behind the hackers, and this is a big problem. But you know what the answer is? It's trust us. If we throw enough of your money at this, trust us, it's not a problem.
I don't trust them at all for that.
Neither do I.
They'll be able to hack this. I mean, you had foreign hackers who were able to hack into the Department of Foreign Affairs in Ottawa.
That's right.
Right? I mean, the Defense Department got hacked. So you're trying to tell me BC Hydro is not going to get hacked? Come on, let's go to Ken on the open line. Hi.
Yeah, hi, Mike.
Yeah.
I don't believe them, because when they bought in that two-tier hydro billing we're paying now, they said the only difference between the rates would be about 15%. Well, it's actually close to like 35 or 40%. They said a family of four could, stay under what they allowed you, which is impossible. So these guys are just lying through the teeth. It's like, they're going to bring this in, and like you say, you won't have to eat your hydro bill, because I guarantee you within a year it'll be in.
Yeah, I was legal counsel representing consumers in that proceeding where they went for this two-tiered rate, and it's done exactly what we predicted. We tried to stop it. The government wanted it. Hydro was determined, and the commission was determined. But if you've got electric heat for your space heating or your water heating in your home, you are getting skinned alive, because very soon you trip into the higher rate for the balance of your billing period, of your 2-month period. And once you're in that territory, you are paying through the nose every time you use electricity, and it's not like you can avoid it. You can only turn down the thermostat so far in your home before you get pneumonia. You go through a cold winter, you're going to use electricity, and they are skinning you alive.
Okay, 604-280-9898. Let's go to Chris on the open line. Hi.
Hi.
Yeah, hi.
Anyways, I think that, the more stringent they are, with the laws, the higher the risk, the bigger the payoff. And, people are willing to pay the higher bill because the cash crop that's involved with the marijuana trade, right? It's huge, But at the same time, you see that everyone's got something going on there anyhow. But I think more restrictions is just going to make it, it's not going to do anything.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll tell you a couple of things. First of all, they've had these smart meters, they've been installed for quite a long time now in a lot of California, and they have electricity theft there. I mean, it hasn't stopped it there. Another thing is, if the